LeBron James was able to win and survive Game 7 yesterday. He had some problems in the third quarter with some cramping. I don't know what that whole issue was, but when he went out the game, Kevin Love stepped up and provided him with some help, and they were able to eliminate the Indiana Pacers. It's clear to me, looking at the series in totality, that Victor Oladipo is a strong number two. He's not a number one because he had too many up and down games, too many ebbs and flows. And when you're a number one and you playing against a transcendent, not only a number one, option in LeBron James, but a transcendent player in LeBron James, you have to be able to nullify him in some capacity. And Victor Oladipo was just too up and down. While LeBron James was consistent throughout the whole series, you can see that Victor Oladipo was up and down, and that's consistent with a number two. A number one has a steady play, and the number two goes up and down, in my opinion. And Victor Oladipo didn't have another player step up significantly and have a consistent series. And LeBron James can cover up for him not having a number two because he's a transcendent player, and that's what a transcendent player does, like a Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, guys like that, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Those guys are transcendent players. So Victor Oladipo, the Indiana Pacers going to have to go out and get him some help, get him a couple more All-Stars, get him some couple more, complimentary pieces. If not, try to find a number one, but they're going to clearly need somebody to go with Victor Oladipo. He's only going to be able to take them so far.
Insider Kevin. I am Rachel Nichols. We have our insider Kevin Arnovitz back, and fresh off a plane from New York, your 2008 Finals MVP, the future Hall of Famer. Paul, here. Good. See, you can tell he's fresh because he's much more nicely dressed than usual. Clothes you got with you.
Yeah, this is what I'm going with.
So LeBron James thinks he can do anything. I mean, he doesn't think he can sprout wings and fly. At least I don't think he does. But within the confines of a basketball court, LeBron sees no limits. No shot he can't take or block. No deficit he can't rebound from. No strain on his body he can't handle. For most of the time, this is a very good thing for the Cavaliers, who would turn out to need an actual superhuman effort from LeBron just to eke out of the...
They always trying to portray LeBron James as a superhero, but superheroes don't get tired. Superheroes do not cramp up. Lead a team out there on the floor, and they could have lost this game. But see, Indiana Pacers, to me, they have an execution problem down the stretch. They shoot way too many threes when they should have been posting up a lot, because Sabonis had a mismatch, whoever got on him, but he didn't take advantage of the mismatch. There's something wrong with his base. He doesn't have a strong post-up base. His legs are not strong enough for him to bag a guy down. Thaddeus Young, to me, was bagging down anybody that was on him better than Sabonis, and Sabonis looked like he got him by at least 15 to 20 pounds. So he's going to have to work on that. But like I said, Indiana did not execute down the stretch in when the games were close.
First round. Seriously, in those 7 games against Indiana, the man dropped more than 40 points 3 separate times and played 288 total minutes of basketball. That is 80.
See, that's what I was saying about LeBron James is a consistent, transcendent player in the series. See, a transcendent player doesn't fall off in the playoffs, too often. We don't see it too often. They usually play very well. They usually bring their A game in the playoffs. And Victor Oladipo, to me, he's a B player, which is a number 2. And he's a really good number 2, but he's a number 2. And he showed in the playoffs with all the ebbs and flows. He had a great game in Game 1 with 32 points. They were able to beat the Cavs at the Cavs Stadium by 18 points, blew them out. And then the next 2 games, he had subpar games. And if he stepped up in one of those games, they are going on to the next round. But he had like really terrible shooting games, and you can't have that out of your supposed number one. If you're number one, you can't have that.
6% of the amount of time it was even possible for him to be on the court. He also scored or assisted on 59% of the Cavaliers' total baskets, and he did it from...
I thought Nate McMillan had a great game plan. He guarded LeBron James most of the game and most of the series one-on-one, which to me you have to do. You have to be able to choose your poison. You don't want LeBron James to get 30 and plus get 10, 12 assists. You either want him to get 35 and 6 assists because you want to keep all those other guys out of rhythm. You want to make LeBron James a scorer, and he did that. But his team let him down with the execution down the stretch. They did not execute well enough to take advantage of his game plan, which was a really good game plan because the guys on LeBron's team, other than Kevin Love and J.R. Smith, none of those guys, and Tristan Thompson, but I don't count Tristan Thompson because he really didn't play a whole lot, but he did play well yesterday. But all them other guys, those guys have no playoff experience, little to no playoff experience. So Clarkson and Larry Nance Jr. definitely don't have any because they come from Los Angeles and they've been having a losing culture the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Rodney Hood has a little bit with Utah, but he never really been in a pressure situation or on this stage. When you're on LeBron James' team, you expected to go to the finals. At least it's true to at least the past 6 or 7 years.
Practically every spot on the floor. Again, there is nothing James doesn't think he can do. But there are a few times, and we saw it yesterday, when that confidence can get him into some trouble. LeBron looked unstoppable in the game's opening minutes, becoming the first player in 20 years to start a Game 7 shooting 7 for 7. And apparently, he felt unstoppable too, because the cameras caught him saying, "Whole game. I'm playing the whole game." Which, I get, it fits into the mythology of what we want from our superstars.
And that shows you right there that LeBron James is the coach of this team. He was telling Tyronn Lue, "I'm playing the whole game. You're not taking me out the game." You see, when people are not crazy when they say LeBron James, he to me, he's running the franchise. Because I bet you it was a deal on the table that if I come back to Cleveland, I want to be able to run practically everything. And then I believe Dan Gilbert gave him the keys, at least for the first 2, 3 years. It's just this year they said no to LeBron. This is the first year they said no to LeBron. And, you're not going to have the keys to our franchise much longer. You either going to have to capitulate to what we want to do as a group, or you can move on. Because, Dan Gilbert got his ring. He got his ring, got his championship for Cleveland. And now, he wants to get back control of his franchise.
But you didn't need a physiology degree to foresee what that would most likely lead to. I mean, all series, we have been watching LeBron need to exert so much effort early that he has been measurably tired and flagging late. As in, actually measurable by the cameras that track players around the court. So, wasn't working that up further in Game 7, trying to play all 48, just asking for...
But see, LeBron James, he knows and understands what a lot of minutes does to an NBA player's body, especially in the playoffs. When the playoffs, it's like two or three regular season games because you're playing real hard because every game counts. You need every game. You need to play hard every game because you need to maximize your chance to win the game. So him playing the whole game and then him cramping up. Now, if they would have went on and lost this game, it would have been on him because you can clearly see that he said, "I'm playing the whole game."
Trouble? It turns out the answer was yes, as some cramping in his legs forced LeBron to the locker room with about a minute to go in the third. At that moment, he had scored more than half the Cavs' points, and losing him for any length of time seemed like a certain death knell for Cleveland. It was shocking then, as LeBron was...
It should have been, Indiana should have took, control of the game at that point, but they lost their window of opportunity. It's due to Victor Oladipo up and down because during that stretch, he didn't shoot the ball well. And like I said, he's a number 2. He's not a number 1. If they had a true number 1, they would have took advantage of that time that LeBron James was out, and they would have won the game. Much like how they did in San Antonio, because a couple years back, I believe it was in 2014, LeBron James had the same thing when he cramped in Game 1 against the San Antonio Spurs, and San Antonio Spurs went on to win the game.
Trying to right himself on the bench with fluids and orange slices to see the rest of the Cavaliers actually step up and extend the team's lead. And the question now, as the Cavs have to turn almost right around and play a Toronto team that will have had 3 days rest, is whether the other guys on the Cavs roster can play like that.
That may be the death knell that LeBron James pushed himself, or, Indiana had something to do with it, pushed him to 7 games because now he got to play Toronto on short rest, and Toronto got fresh legs. They coming off of 3-4 days rest. I mean, they can have some rust, but at least they're rested. And LeBron James, the Cavaliers' only offense, it seems nowadays, until Kevin Love steps up, or J.R. Smith have a game where he hit 5 threes. He's their only offense, so they may be in trouble against Toronto, but I'm still picking the Cavs to win. I have to pick LeBron James in every series until I see somebody beat him 4 times, because he has had the Eastern Conference on lock for the last 7 years. So I have to give him that much respect.
Again, this time more reliably and more often. Because I know LeBron thinks he can do anything and everything, but I can't see a way that will work against the Raptors, who have been salivating all season for exactly this kind of series.
Now the Raptors, they have 2 number 2s, two strong number 2s, in DeRozan and Lowry, and they have some good complementary pieces. But so they possibly can take advantage and beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, but they will have to stay heady. They will have to execute down the stretch. Kyle Lowry and DeRozan cannot go one-on-one down the stretch. They have to still run offense, because going one-on-one is easier to guard a man when a man trying to go one-on-one. They have to run misdirection plays and things of that nature. So Toronto can beat them, but like I said, Toronto has had their problems in the playoffs against the Cavs in the past. But that's when LeBron James had Kyrie too. But I'm going to say this. If Toronto cannot beat LeBron James this year, they will never beat them. It's much like how the Knicks and the Bulls used to play. The Bulls used to beat the Knicks in every playoff series. When Jordan retired, they finally got over the hump, beat the Bulls in the playoff series. So, because if they weren't going to beat the Bulls then, they were never going to beat the Bulls. It's much like this. If Toronto don't beat LeBron James this year, they will never beat LeBron James.
This Toronto team has an elite all-star backcourt, a bench as deep as the ocean, and even a rookie in OG Anunoby, who is tops in the league at stopping the exact kind of drives to the basket LeBron used to get by the Pacers.
Like I said, I believe Toronto can win the series. If they win the series, they're going to win it in 6. If Cleveland win it, they'll win it in 7. Because Toronto has the home court advantage in this series. And we'll see, man. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if Kyle Lowry and DeRozan tell LeBron James, no, not this year. Or we'll see if LeBron James can overcome another round of him just being practically the only offense until we see different from Kevin Love. But I think Kevin Love's still dealing with that hand injury, that thumb injury. He had broke his thumb. It was on his non-shooting hand, I believe, but it's still a broken thumb nonetheless. But we'll see what happens between Toronto and Cleveland. I got Cleveland in 7. But let me know what y'all think. Subscribe to the channel. I'm out.